Hey, welcome! Today, we are going to tackle a problem that, let's be honest, we've all faced. How do you take a brilliant plan off the whiteboard and actually make it work in the real world? Well, it all boils down to a super powerful but really simple idea. Let's dive in.
So, does this sound familiar? You've got this perfect strategy, right? It's been meticulously planned, every single detail is covered. But then, the second it actually gets put into practice, it just starts to unravel, you know? Why on earth does this keep happening?
Well, it's because there is this massive gap between the dream and the reality. On the one hand, you have the planner's dream, this nice, neat, predictable, straight line right to success. But then, smack, you hit the executor's reality, a totally winding, complicated path where you're constantly having to make adjustments, and yeah, failure is a very real possibility. So how in the world do we bridge that gap?
This right here, from our source material, gives us the biggest clue. Now, don't just skim this, look closely. It says to execute the strategy and at the same time, review it and create a contingency plan. That little phrase, "at the same time," that's the whole secret. It tells us this isn't a static, step-by-step thing. It's a dynamic, living process.
Okay, so this brings us to the very first of three core pillars for making a strategy that actually works: the bias for action. It's all about one thing: getting started.
You know the old saying, action speaks louder than words? Well, it has never been more true than with strategy. A plan, no matter how brilliant it looks on paper, is just a theory. It's just a file sitting on a server somewhere. It has literally zero value until you start doing the work.
And that's the whole point. Execution is the moment your plan gets tested by the real world. Think of it as the engine of your strategy. Without execution, all you've got is an idea, a wish. This is the first absolutely non-negotiable step. You have to act.
But, just taking action isn't quite enough. So let's move on to our second pillar, which builds right on top of the first one, the constant pulse check. This is all about paying close attention while you're in the middle of all that action.
And this definition just nails it. See how the word simultaneous is emphasized? That's key. This isn't about some stuffy quarterly report or a meeting you have after the project is already over. No, this review is happening in real time as you're executing. You're constantly asking, are we getting the results we thought we would? What's actually working? And what's totally not? This is the live feedback loop for your strategy.
All right, on to our third and final pillar. This is the one that really prepares us for that messy, winding path we saw earlier. I call it the what-if plan.
Now, having a contingency plan, that's not admitting your main strategy is bad. Not at all. It's just being smart enough to acknowledge that the world is unpredictable. It's a proactive way to get ready for those bumps in the road. So while you're executing and reviewing, you're also asking, okay, what could go wrong here, and what are we going to do if it does?
So, we've got our three pillars, right? Action, review, and contingency. But here's the thing. Their real power isn't in doing them one after the other. It's how they all work together, constantly, to form a powerful loop. Let's circle back to our secret weapon from earlier, that simple phrase, "at the same time." This is what transforms strategy from a rigid, step-by-step recipe into a living, breathing cycle of learning and adapting on the fly. And this is exactly what that loop looks like in practice. You execute, you take action. While you're doing that, you review, you observe what's happening in the real world. And based on what you see, you adapt. You create or adjust your contingency plans. It's a constant cycle. You're executing, reviewing, and adapting all at once. It's not step one, then step two, then step three. It's a continuous, flowing process. So, what's the payoff here? Why does this even matter? Well, because this loop gives you some serious advantages. You become way more agile, you can solve problems so much faster, you dramatically reduce your risk of a major failure, and honestly, you just end up making smarter, more informed decisions every step of the way. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. We've got to stop thinking of strategy as some static blueprint that we have to follow no matter what. Instead, we have to embrace it as a dynamic, living process of doing, learning, and adapting, all happening at the same time. And that really leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Is your current strategy a static map telling you exactly which roads to take, even if that road now leads off a cliff? Or is it a dynamic compass, constantly helping you find the best path forward toward your goal, no matter how crazy the terrain gets?